Welcome back again. So it's Clare and Waterford then in the Munster Hurling final in Thurles. Great occasion, of course, today at Semple Stadium, and looking forward to that as we are is our commentator, Ger Canning.
Thank you very much indeed, Michael, and you're welcome back to Semple Stadium. And it really is a most wonderful occasion. There's a great sense of occasion in Thurles down in the town this morning, and what a reception the teams are receiving. This down here at the town end, the Waterford supporters, and they are back in the big time, or at least they would like to think so. They last reached a Munster final back in 1989, beaten by Tipperary. And how about this for a welcome that Waterford are receiving? And the Waterford team then led out onto the field by Stephen Frampton, an absolutely fantastic welcome for them. Half the ground here covered in Waterford supporters, bearing the colours, of course, of their native county. And they got about 18,500 tickets, they were telling me, last Monday night. But I think they have many more than 18,000 fans here in Thurles this afternoon. And as I say, hoping to see their side once again take victory. Billy O'Sullivan here, the most experienced of their players. He was in the 1989 final. Did he scored a point in that particular match, and today Billy is playing in his 18th championship match for his native county. Well, the talk in Waterford ever since the semi-final win against Tipperary, of course, has been all about victory, all about the merit of their sides. So many people have told them that they have little or no chance, but this is the Waterford side that they have named. It's the 15 that started and finished against Tipperary in that semi-final, brilliantly led by wing-back Stephen Frampton. The two experienced members of the side, as I say, are full-back Sean Cullinan and corner-forward Billy O'Sullivan, both of whom played in that 1989 Munster final, the last contested by the Déise men. Cullinan coming into that final as a sub, and now the Waterford fans stand, but it's the turn of Clare, wearing the tracksuit tops, led out by Anthony Daly, their team captain. Just listen to the ovation that they're receiving, hoping to win a third Munster championship in 4 years, quite a record. They've only ever won just a handful of Munster titles, and here they are now with Liam Doyle, their right half back, playing in a Munster final for the 22nd time. Half of the ground is full of Clare fans, the other half full of Waterford fans. The atmosphere electric, and it really is the place to be. There's been a buzz in Thurles and Liberty Square down there since about 11 o'clock this morning. James O'Connor will be one of those that they will be particularly looking to, and the man who's led them to such a wonderful 1990s Ger Loughnane. Well, Ger and his fellow selectors will be very wary of the breeze this afternoon. It is blowing and gusting right down the field. Mike McNamara is there as well alongside Ger Loughnane. And it's going to be interesting to see just who wins the toss and whether they will opt to go with the breeze for the opening 35 minutes or not. There is certainly a school of thought that Waterford, the more inexperienced side, should opt for the breeze at their backs for the first half. And it's just possible, of course, that Clare might win the toss enough to play against the wind, so we'll just have to see how that one pans out. Now, Clare have announced an unchanged team from that which started against Cork, and that means there's no room for the Sparrow, Ger O'Loughlin, as PG O'Connell starts his 17th championship match. Brian Quinn and Alan Markham, both surprise inclusions before the semi-final, get to play in their first Munster final, which is also the case for the more experienced Eamon Taff. It's a red-letter day for David Fitzgerald and Anthony Daly, both appearing in the championship for the 21st time. And every kind of headgear in use. There really is quite an industry at major matches nowadays. So many sellers of banners, of necklaces, of flags, everything possible to identify you as a supporter of one particular county. P.G. O'Connell from O'Callaghan's Mills, the ever-reliable player, took a break, of course, for the league, but there was never really any disputing his intentions to return, and these Clare fans in particular are very pleased that he did, because he gives his side great experience. There's Sean McMahon playing in his 13th championship match this afternoon, as Clare come down now to have the team photograph taken. And the toss across on the far side, Anthony Daly on the left-hand side, and it's Stephen Frampton who gets to captain Waterford. Now, who's going to make the call? It's Stephen Frampton who's won the toss and is opting to play against the wind for the first 35 minutes. That seemed to be the indication. So Waterford continue their preparation, and the track-suited men from Clare are busy getting the photographs taken. But they've had such a wonderful series of success over these last number of years. 5 finals in 6 years. That's quite an achievement for a county that was absolutely success-starved coming into the 1990s. And I suppose they came within a Kieran Carey puck in '96 of possibly making it 6 final appearances in 6 years. So Waterford continue to prepare on the right-hand side here. And that is their centre-half back, Fergal Hartley, a wonderfully gifted centre-half back, a member of the famed Ballygunner club, and a man who's captained them to county success. It's his 8th championship match this afternoon. That's a very enterprising half-back line of Frampton, Hartley and Green. And of course Brown and Queally will really be the men that they will be looking to in the centre of the field. Now, just a little while ago, this happened. And the chopper descended from the skies, and there's Her Excellency President Mary McAleese coming down here in an adjoining field just outside the stand across from us here, making her way with husband Martin to the Munster final. And then back here, this is the scene that she's about to witness as she's being introduced now to the crowd. A smiling president coming to her first ever final. Sean Kelly on the right-hand side there, the chairman of the Munster Council, and her husband Martin in the background there with the wine tie, a man who's got an abiding interest in Gaelic games. And now the presidential salute. Team still assembling in this breezy afternoon here. Got a very quick glimpse there of John Newton, the Roscommon player, in the background as Her Excellency approaches, and the players get into formation to be introduced to our first citizen. It was an ambition of hers to attend a Munster final down in County Tipperary, the home of hurling. She's a great sports follower, I know. Well, again, an indication of what is a very gusty, blustery afternoon here. Semple Stadium packed to the rafters, as always. 50,000 people are thereabouts. And Anthony Daly now having the privilege of introducing his team members. Jamesy O'Connor being introduced, and down along the line they go. For Anthony Daly, it's a particular honour and privilege. Like Davy Fitzgerald, he made his championship debut against Limerick in 1990 when the banner standard was lowered that day by 216 to 1-5. How things have changed and how Ger Loughnane has assisted that change over the years. Willie Barrett now the referee this afternoon, with Pat O'Connor and John Sexton from Limerick, his 2 officials, and also the men who very rarely get a mention, but they're the umpires this afternoon. And they're there as well to meet Her Excellency Richie Boyle, Sean Barrett, Danny Whelan and Michael O'Mahony. And now Stephen Frampton's turn. One of a strong group of Ballygunner players playing this afternoon for Waterford. Rank outsiders, of course, in most people's books, and that's because of the amazing finish that Clare put in that match here against Cork some weeks ago. Level pegging with about 10 minutes to go, and the sheer intensity of their play after that left a lot of people wondering, was there any side anywhere that could live with Clare? So Her Excellency the President then, having been introduced, gets a very warm and enthusiastic reception from Clare people, from Waterford people, from Munster people everywhere. But it's not just a Munster occasion. I always think the Munster final is very much a national sporting occasion as well. This will be watched everywhere and anywhere. And of course, one person missing today, Jimmy Smith of Clare. He's watching, I know. And also Eddie Young, the chairman of the Bars. Gerald McCarthy said say hello to him. So the president takes his seat, and we'll be back soon for the start of the latest Munster final, the 109th Munster Hurling final.
Yes, absolutely. Great scene, as I said, down there in Thurles. The blue and white flags of Waterford certainly seem to be the dominant colour from those pictures that we've seen here. By the way, Ger, sending greetings to people. I must send greetings to Sinead Kilbride down in Castlebar and to daughter Heather, who's just 1 week old today. Tomas Mulcahy, the toss has gone, as Ger estimates there, in Waterford's favour. They've chosen to play against the breeze, and that's the way we figured it would go.
Yeah, and it's going to be a particularly tough first half for the Waterford backs. I mean, defending, it looks like a very, very strong breeze, you know, so it will be important for them that they get off to a good start themselves and they don't cave in to the Clare pressure, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pressure on them in the first half. And to be interested to see what tactics Gerald McCarthy used. Maybe he might bring back one of his midfielders, drop back into the half-back line and bring out one of their forward division and try and hold and pin Clare down and get in at half-time, knowing if he's not too far behind that they have a great chance then in the second half.
Now, you know Gerald. You've obviously worked with
Yes.
him. Tell me exactly what it is that he's brought to this Waterford setup that they didn't have before.
Well, obviously he's brought this confidence about winning. I mean, Gerald has been a fantastic player himself. He's been in management where he had successful teams as well. But when he went to Waterford, he knew they had a very, very good bunch of players. They had a very, very committed bunch of players. But he's brought a tremendous discipline into their team. In Championship Hurling, in Munster Hurling, you've got to be prepared to take the knock and get on with the game. That's what the game is all about. And he has done this. And you now see Waterford players getting very much involved in the play, but not reacting. And that is something that they've done in the past. And he's changed that completely. They've all been on the neutron diet from the start of the year as well. Their discipline and their commitment now, I'm sure, is on a par as the Clare team that we see at the moment. So it has the makings of a very, very good game, and I'm sure Waterford will give a very, very good account of themselves.
Because Pete Finnerty, you were making the point before that sometimes going down to play Waterford in Waterford on Welsh Park and that wasn't necessarily the happiest thing that you had to do during a National League campaign or whatever.
No, in fairness, and with all due respect to Waterford in the past, it was very physical and they got very excited, and there was hurleys broken on the table before they went out, and they played more from the heart than anywhere else. And when things started going against them, they began to lose the head a little bit. But as Tomas was saying, Gerald has changed all this. They're now focused on the ball, they're focused on their own ability, and they've great belief in their own ability. That's one thing that he has instilled into them. And I can see them, there was a fear earlier on that they may flop in Championship Hurling, but getting the win over Tipperary the last day, there'll be no flop today. Now they are playing against a stiff breeze, and it is important that they button down the hatches early on, and they don't allow Clare to get this lead that they can't pull back. Because Clare are very good finishing a game, but Waterford will have the breeze now. Clare won the All-Ireland playing with the breeze in the second half. Waterford beat Tip playing with the breeze in the second half. So it's in favour of Waterford now at the moment.
I suppose one problem that Waterford have today, Tomas, and it will be the problem that Tipperary would have had or Cork would have on a different day or whatever, is they're playing against a class act.
They are, and you have to give credit to Clare. I mean, they have been brilliant performers over the last number of years. The attitude of the Clare team, I'm sure, is going to be as good as it was the last day against Cork. You've seen in the first 10 minutes, they totally outwitted Cork. Tactically, on the field of play, they put a lot of pressure on the Cork defence. Their forwards were chasing every ball, and they chased the ball in packs, and they put pressure on Brian Corcoran. I'm sure the forwards are going to be doing exactly the same today. Clare, I'm sure, are not going to take Water for granted. A lot of people are saying they're going to win this and win it easily. If they take it for granted, I think they could actually suffer at the end of the game.
Having said that, though, I mean, the last day against Cork, I mean, they raised their game big time for that. And Gerald McNann would admit that himself, and he even said it in interviews. There's another chance here, even if Clare didn't make it today. I know they want to win that Munster title, but they will still be in the championship. Can that put a little edge into it?
It can put a little edge into it, and as you say correctly, 8 minutes to go in the game against Cork, there was still only 2 points in it, even though they finished very, very strongly and ran away with an 8-point win. This competitive edge will be there. It's a Munster Hurling final. Clare won't want to take the chance. If they lose today, they're probably going to meet Galway in our All-Ireland quarter-final. They won't want to take that chance. They want to win it and win it on merit and win a Munster title to go on to the next game in All-Ireland semi-final. So they won't take any chances today.
In our players to watch, Pete, we were taking out Tony Brown and Paul Flynn from the Waterford side as two fellas who will have to deliver today. And this is absolutely the truth, because Waterford but would if they played well, it would be that added bonus.
It would be that added bonus, and Brown playing at midfield is playing in one of the areas that Clare have dominated in the last year, and especially the last day against Cork. Ollie Baker is out there and Colin Lynch, and Brown is out there with Quealy, and they're two excellent midfielders. Now it's vital who wins that clash, especially when the ball is dropping there with the shortened puck out against the breeze. So midfield will be in it big time today. Flynn is an inspirational character for Waterford, And if Flynn comes up with a big one today, you'll see the likes of Billy O'Sullivan and players like that coming into the game as well. But if Flynn fails and his frees aren't going over and he's under pressure, the heads may drop. So it is a big one that Flynn comes up trumps again today.
OK, gentlemen, thank you very much for that. So then let's head back again to Thurles for what we believe will be a fascinating Munster hurling final.
We certainly hope so, Michael. Yes, the backs have gone back into their position. It's as we anticipated. Stephen Frampton did indeed win the toss, and he opts to play against the wind for the first 35 minutes. It's an absolutely wonderful, colourful but blustery scene here at Semple Stadium this afternoon. And this gentleman here, I'm sure, has the fingers crossed that his side can win another Munster title. Frampton and Brian Green, by the way, have switched positions straight away. Taking a look around to see how many changes Clare have made, if indeed any.